Well, hello people, and welcome back to another episode of City Showcase. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're looking at the city of Calera, built by Toolbox on the Calera County map from Teddy Radko's Map Pack 3. A very clinical official asset build, built with some quality life mods, but notably without move it or network anarchy, and a really stunning, tidy build sat in one of the most unique official maps. If you want your work to feature in the next episode, of course, there's always a link in the video description to a Google form. Fill it out, and I'll do my best to showcase your work in the next episode. Otherwise, let's get stuck into another city showcase, shall we? So as always everyone, let's grab a grander orbital view of this city, which is so neat, isn't it? Again, Calera County, we had a build on this map a few months ago. Which was very different to this. They'd taken the water in such a massive interior section that built up onto the, I guess, the rim of the caldera here. But yeah, really unique map, and I'm always happy to see a build on this. And I can also see we have our first race circuit from the Race Circuits DLC appearing in the series for the first time, which we love. But either way, admiration for the road planning. Got all these highway arterials weaving through the city with immaculate interchanges. It's all very neat and tidy, isn't it? Let's have a little look around here. I think we'll start with the International Airport, which has immediately drawn my eyes, and I think I saw during the intro cinematic. Yes, you have used the red after dark lights alongside your runway, which is such a strong visual, isn't it? Especially from your nighttime view here. So really nice. Let's check out Calera International Airport. A superb terminal configuration. Reminds me very much of Imperator's build here, I think. Even with some decals here. Some of the plazas and promenades decals on the tarmac, which is great to see. But again, it's to scale, isn't it? I hope the aviation police will be happy with this. We got 2 runways with a really nice use of the airport apron to create this kind of angled runoff from the runways here. I'm not sure if these have a name. They probably do. But those plazas and promenades decals make a real difference to the airport, don't they? Just a bit of a change of texture goes such a long way, doesn't it, when you have so much concrete. It's a fair size as well, all these taxiways coming around here. I think the airport's probably a sign for the rest of the build, isn't it? Immaculate and just immaculately measured. Planned, I think, is the order of the day here, isn't it? Got our trains running past the airfield here too. A little bit of plane traffic here, but I think there's only so much you can do with a plane AI, isn't it? Where's this backing up from? Is it the runways? The small planes. The small planes don't care. There they go. I'm not actually sure why they're backing up here. A dead plane, maybe? Which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. CS1 AI, I guess, will only handle so much, won't it? Coming up to the front of the terminal, we have the airline headquarters with the CIA. Calera International Airport, I assume, as opposed to Central Intelligence Agency. With some nice landscaping at the front, and a great configuration of the 2-tiered terminals here. Some nice ramps and layers. Leading us into a really nice diverging diamond interchange here, actually, which is getting some really nice flow. Speaking of traffic for the first time, Traffic Manager isn't present in the build, and at 113,000. We're at 92%, which is one of the best we've seen. 93 even. That's insane. We got a little bit of red over here, but it's nothing major, is it? Just a bit of industrial traffic. So that's really good. We'll see if that maintains the 92% come the end of the build. Very nice indeed. Surrounds on our airport is full of car parking, emergency services in different configurations, lots of big out of terminal long stay car parking as well, which is always a vibe for airports, isn't it? Garbage collection over here as well, with a little bit of power and a tunnel that sees us go somewhere. Can I decipher this without going underground? Doesn't look like it. Where's this going, I wonder? Nowhere. That's why I can't decipher it. Maybe you're planning an expansion there, were you? But it never happened. But a really stunning airport. Again, built without your usual quality of life mods, of which I usually count as Anarchy and Move It being the 2 major ones. So very nice. A really nice airport here. And now the city's a bit of an unusual shape. It's going to be a hard one to explore this. I think we'll circle the edge builds and kind of gradually circle into the middle, obviously arriving at the downtown eventually. Over here, I have noticed during my look around pre-recording as well, a lot of the builds are named after egg, which is always appreciated. And here we have a car factory, warehouses holding the goods for the car itself, with a little, perhaps Orchid Bay inspired racetrack here. Zoo fencing and roads. Of course, you could use the road upgrade tool now to save yourself a ton of nodes here. And it does get a bit of use as well. We can enjoy some oil truck racing, which doesn't sound the most safest form of motorsport, does it? But a functional racetrack nonetheless. There's some viewing platforms over here as well. Really tasty. Nice execution of the car factory. Which brings us into an... What is this? Calera air cargo. So dedicated cargo terminal with lots of warehouses backing onto the airport roads, which is a really cool visual, isn't it? So industrial, that. Of course, we have the cargo terminal itself, with a couple of factories. We've got pulp mills, soft paper, forestry production going on over here as well, with some just simple detailing, but does a lot, doesn't it? Visual cargo containers does wonders for an industrial area. Japanese waste recycling, and more warehouses. It's not very often at all we see dedicated cargo airports. I don't really tend to build them either, to be honest. But I'm gonna like it. It's the scale. It fits really nicely in amongst these highways here, doesn't it? As we take a chance to admire another trumpet interchange configuration here. Great stuff. We'll also see some further warehouse districts over here. We're holding multiple factories. Nice orientation of industrial infrastructure against your arterial roads here as well. Noting landscaping. Radio masts before we come into our first suburb here. Via a non-omnidirectional ramp, which I like. Coming into the blending of grid with the curved arterials around it, right? This is a great example of grid meets curves, isn't it, here? So we'll check out Main Street. We'll have a lot of King Leno's shopping mall stuff. And don't forget any DLCs you're missing for these skylines. You can find them below at Instant Gaming. Definitely recommend King Leno's shopping malls. The uniques are amazing, but the zoning style you get is a much nicer commercial alternative, I feel. You got buses coming down this road, rows of services, police, fire, medical, blended into a pretty vast European suburbia sprawl over here. Really nice. Big car park, school campuses, going into more industrial warehouse infrastructure over here. Tons of car parking. Car parking police will be happy with this, I think. Again, warehouses orientated against an arterial. Has a nice vibe, doesn't it? So a really nice suburb. Simply executed. Nice ramps on and off here as well by the side of the forestry district which sits here. They're also getting some achievements for the race day DLC here as well, which is helping. Got a slightly sunken lumberyard, which is fine. I'm happy with that. I'm not sure what would have caused that actually. I've never seen that before. Maybe a terrain discrepancy just underneath the asset perhaps. That's warping it a little bit. And then over here we got coal plants and most of the forestry buildings. Double pulp mill is always a nice visual for these areas, isn't it? And a really nice entrance with all the sapling fields here. Landscaped in with rows of palms. And really good traffic. Again, if you want to see the mod set here, I don't think Rebalanced Industries is on. Oh no, it is. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's why industrial traffic will be so good. But otherwise, these are all the mods. It's maybe just like find it, extra landscaping tools. You know, there's no move it or anarchy in the mod set here. Which when a build is always this neat, is always quite impressive, I think. Nice roundabouts through here too. This road taking us up to the Wood Vision. Again, by the arterial road. Leading us back into this big European suburbia by the cargo airport and the factories. I think we'll grab the spaceport very obviously while we're over here, which is made up of the launch center alongside the Space Needle, which is sucking everyone into a metro, which I'm sure is absolutely hammering this metro ridership. Yeah, nearly 2,000 a week coming through that one. We'll also use that as an opportunity to check the rest of the ridership, with just over very nearly 10,500 people across the networks, which is nice. I imagine this contributes at least 2,000 of those sims through here. What great stuff. Love to see that. And not a bad use of the Space Needle either. Easily one of the most weird assets to use. But partnered with all the high-tech content creator pack assets here. A couple of industrial plazas. Yeah, that's a really nice, cute spaceport. Not over the top, which I think can be very easy to do with these things, trying to make them feel authentic. You can always take them perhaps a little bit too eccentric, but again, I think tasteful is the order of the day for this city, isn't it, here today? And we're not missing anything further up here. Yeah, we've just got lots of little networks zigzagging across pretty gnarly terrain, to be honest. Heading all the way up here. Great stuff. I think a lot of this is Teddy's interchange out here, isn't it? Look at that. Isn't that nice? What an interchange, Teddy. Gorgeous. Heading back down into the city, I think we'll stick to the left of this, or the right of this arterial road here, and grab these builds before we sweep around to the other sides of the building here. So we'll follow our arterial down into this next suburb, which is greeted with, certainly this has to be a named build, does it? Yep. The Calera Municipal Cooperation, which is very landscaped with an elevated metro, the city hall unique, train station also centralised off the back of that as well. With the bus station and depot combo with a service point. That's a really nice service point alignment. That's a really nice asset combination there, isn't it? Service point, intercity bus station, and the depot itself. The expanded walkable concrete all behind it as well. Appreciate that. Very nice. Big pedestrianisation up to our city hall. I talk about, I think you have a really, because I know you've had your work showcased on City Showcase before. You do have quite a distinctive building style. I really enjoy looking over it. A little bit of Brooklyn and Queens also making an appearance by the high street here as well, as we discover a city park tucked in and amongst the European suburbia. Nice park detail, expanded tables on the concrete space. And more of this neat and tidy suburbia design. Grids wrapped by curved arterial roads. School campuses tucked in. Commercial, more city parks in here. A little appearance of the American Just Bridge, which again isn't something we see very often at all from that content creator pack. And the European suburbia continues, boxed in here by what looks like a slightly embanked rail system. It's not too elevated. There is a slight discrepancy there though between the heights, which I always like. See a bit more on that slight elevation there, can't you? Over here, we'll stumble across what looks to be a nuclear plant just off of the cargo airport. Again, which is simple. A few bit of canals to indicate perhaps nuclear discharge, alongside a couple or 4 coal plants as well. Giving you a nice little boost of power in a cute little industrial configuration. Before we come across an interchange, which is, I guess, can we figure out the combination here? I'm not sure. Sort of a turbine configuration, isn't it? Over here. But it's nice. It's getting some nice flow in it. As we come over here, we'll grab the hotel section of the airport we missed earlier, which is a nice arrangement, more of the luxury hotels and near enough 10 of the regular ones, with lots of landscaping and tons of long stay car parking here. With that metro also being served here as well. Grabs everything that side, doesn't it? Yeah. So just to complete the airport facility there. Crossing over this side of the highway, the European density continues with spring queens of Brooklyn and Queens, and a transition to green cities here as well, with lots of green pitch included in that green cities area too. For a little industrial evolution block, warehouses and cargo. Your logistics are organised very nicely. Your industry has good access to cargo lines for moving all this around the rest of the city, of course. And then a little prison. Doubled up with 8 prisons we have, which is quite a lot. I bet you've got a ton of prison capacity here. Alongside a police station in the middle, with some of the industrial barracks, I guess to function perhaps as some sort of prison facility at least. With paths and fencing around the edge, classic official asset prison. Which always gives you such a cool, unique build, doesn't it? Our arterial road crosses over our train networks here, which I would like to pay some respect to the train networks. You can see how well they've been integrated into the whole city here. You just take a minute to trace them and you'll just see where they flow. Pretty much everywhere. Very nicely integrated as well. Which again is hard to do without Move It and Anarchy, because you can't just say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You've got to make sure it all fits. So I appreciate that a little more than I would on a city that does have Move It and Anarchy to get past those more challenging gameplay aspects, I suppose. I will note the walking pathway here bringing us back down into the European suburb here. Before we come across our first stadium, which is packed all with pedestrianisation. Of course, respecting the shape of the copper ball, because the footprint of the asset is essentially this size. With Metro, which does that go under the stadium? There's a load of people arriving here, look at that. And this is what we're all here for, isn't it, everyone? Great stuff, that. More pedestrianisation onto elevated Metro from that too. The vast amount, possibly the biggest car park we've had in a City Showcase here. I really like that. And then we have our statues out this way. Jerry Senior, plazas and promenades. Bring us into the mall with a vast amount of container detailing. Some tables either side of it as well. Surrounded by more commercial. And another really nice collection of service points here. Don't usually see them quadrupled up like this. I wonder why you didn't go for the larger service point here actually rather than 4 small ones. Maybe design choice perhaps. And then we have disconnected Metro here. Perhaps you're indicating where it will grow. Almost like a in progress construction project maybe. Might be the idea here. And there was no missing assets on the loading screen report, so nothing is missing. This drops us off at a absolutely vast district of wall-to-wall. Which again is grid mapped with curves, isn't it? And another really nice highway exit here. Metro passing over that interchange as well. Wonderful. This drops us off into a farm next door, which is big alignments of the larger official fields. Some perhaps more plantation vibes down here as well with the manually placed coconut palms. This takes us up into more warehouse, more detail, and a few more factories around here as well. The food and the sneaker factory with some light animal processing. Which then drops us off into our first ever race day DLC build, which I'm so happy to see these starting to appear in the City Showcase submissions. We have a Metro here with a train station. A Japanese train station at that. Also with a Brutalist building. Really love that. That's such a great position at the front of your race HQ here. With lots of pedestrian road. Intercity bus terminal bringing people to the circuit itself. And we even have a race in progress. Isn't that amazing? I love that. So let's follow the cars around, shall we? So we have our big grandstands here. People actually chilling out here watching the race. Dangerously exposed to the track, perhaps. But I love to see these in a build now. Got our pit garages here, pedestrianisation, or pedestrian pathway at least. Heading over to the back of those grandstands. And then this is going to come all the way up the hill. A pretty appropriately sized racetrack, I would say. It's pretty big. Bigger than Ranox, at least. With all different combinations of the various fencings around. Another pit garage over here. It comes right through the dense boreal trees. Reminds me a lot of Spa, actually, in Belgium. Dense boreal pine forest circuit. Which brings us back to the main straight. So really nice. Love to see these appearing again. Please keep them coming. Always love seeing the new DLC start to appear in these builds. And then 3 services down at the end, or I guess 4 if you include the garbage as well. Hoping to keep the race circuit free of disease, fire and crime. And garbage, I suppose, as well. And then that drops us off on the prison next door over there. Great build. Love to see that. Coming back to our stadium, let's continue to grab all these builds. We'll stumble across more green cities neighborhoods with underground metro and bus convergence integrated. Couple of schools side by side here as well, which looks great. And almost fused, just without your move it refinement, of course, but you can't really tell, can you, to be honest? With pitches, botanical gardens. You can see a little bit of cycling through on the main road here as well. As we see that elevated metro passing over that highway interchange we noted a moment ago. Which then I think brings us into this big industrial sector, which I'd quite like to explore up to the City Hall Memorial we saw. So here we'll find water processing and storage. Alongside a really fun use of monorail roads. I wonder if you're using that as like perhaps stored metal or something. Does this have a name, this build? That will perhaps indicate as to what that is. Just ore industries. I like that though. A fun little creative use of your monorail networks there. Airport cargo train terminal here delivering cargo as well. Again, with another note to respect the elaborate train designs passing through the city here. With no train traffic, which is great. Really nice. The usual ore buildings, rotary kilns, cranes, glass plants. Little bits of official asset detailing where possible. You've got the rocks integrated into all the mining spaces here. Bring us into some significantly more industrial processing with industrial evolution. And some warehouses over here too. You've got some nice alignment here. That's a really nice alignment, isn't it? With the recycling centre and the overgrowth that comes with the industrial evolution stuff. Like, how cute does that look? Granted, the bins are on stilts for some reason. Guess that must be a terrain discrepancy there, probably. Look at that, right? Isn't that a really nice little grimy industrial area? With pretty much no mods here. You can easily zone this in vanilla. This is why I always bang on about orientation, everyone, because you can create some really nice corners of your city just by placing the assets in the right space to each other. Like, is this part of the asset here, or is this personal detailing? Yeah, it's part of the asset. Which is great. I really love that. I'm really happy we stumbled on that corner. It's those things that make a city for me, you know, those realistic kind of dirty, grungy alleyways that you would expect to find in a big industrial expansion like this. Great stuff. This then comes back into farming, which again is laid out in a pretty similar format to the one we just looked at over here. Animal processing, crops from fields, flour mills. With a nice orientation to your skyline, which we can admire for the first time. Nice tasteful rise and peak here before tapering off again. We get stuck into downtown shortly, I imagine. Over here, we'll see emerging downtowns linked with a big centralized pedestrian area using the glass roof plazas. Alongside some emerging downtowns fun. Getting lots of people walking up and down here to The Japanese metro station, one of my favourite assets in the game, this, right? Especially on a pedestrian road. Just looks so at home, doesn't it? This visual of stairs will never fail to impress me. And then the Aviation Museum, also present in here as well. Alongside the Train Museum and the Grand Central Terminus. With a fishing wharf to also enjoy as well, which we'll grab before we head further down the coast. Industrial Evolution. Is it Revolution? It's one of the two, isn't it? I always get it wrong. Avandia's DLC, essentially. We also see the seafood factory over here, warehouses, seafood market. A couple more of them over here as well. Taking us onto our fishing wharf. Of course, made up maybe a little high here. You could do well, you could terraform it to bring it down. But you know, I've done that before, so who am I to judge? Again, more really nice alignment of industrial evolution to create these exact spaces. Really love this. This comes into container detailing and a little fishing wharf holding 4 total harbours and some nightlife entertainment. Nice little fishing industry there. You did so much less water as well than the other Calera build we had. Not that that's a bad thing, but I always, I think, like to note how different people's minds approach the same map, essentially. If you haven't seen that other Calera build, go ahead and check it out in the City Showcase playlist. I think it's called one of the best builds ever, is inside a volcano, if you want to find it. Over here, emerging downtown gives way to wall-to-wall, as we see the Design Hotel. Sit very proudly here by the water with metro passing in front of it. Car parks out the back here. And big blocks of that wall-to-wall zoning. And all really nicely mapped with this big, important arterial highway passing through the middle. With more ramps available over here as well. At the back of that farm district we saw by the racetrack, we'll see huge swaths of Brooklyn and Queens this time. Littered with services, death care, parks, or elder care rather, not death care. And a little shopping mall over here as well, as we see the embankment of the rail start to really elevate away from the rest of the city here. So great use of terrain. I don't know why I'm getting host and complete a motor race event achievement. I've done that many times, recording in the early access branches. I mean, maybe there's probably a mod on stopping the achievements unlocking, I imagine. So thanks for the achievements at Toolbox. I am farming your city for achievements, it would seem. We're coming over here. Industry will take over again, which is blocks of water and garbage collection, with warehouses and factories also littered in here as well. With more really nice cargo integration, making sure that all this produced industry can get around the city via rail. Also got some water cleaning in here as well, with plenty of Sunset Harbour garbage recycling. And a ton of the dirt decals, I think from Countryside. I think they're from, isn't it? I'm fairly sure they're Countryside props. I guess to create a pile of aggregate, I suppose, without surface painter, which is very creative. Really like how you've done that. It's not hammering the frames either. That's great. Really nice use of the Countryside prop there. I'm fairly sure it is a Countryside prop, isn't it? Just like a little dirt pile, but mass spammed with a bit of terraforming. You can create quite a convincing pile of aggregate here, can't you? Really nice. This way, we'll notice some really cool interchange ramps. I'm not sure if this is one of Teddy's placeable interchanges. It doesn't look like it is. Looks custom made, that one. But a really nice interchange, like really good. I really love how that flows over the networks. Perfect traffic on it as well. Pedestrianisation will kick in with nightlife and landscaping against our arterial road, with another stadium and plenty of entertainment around here, including the blimp. Is there a blimp in the sky? Can't see one. Let's hope not. don't think we've seen another blimp yet. Across the highway, this side will grab some nice plaza designs. Statue of Wealth and plazas and promenade stuff. With cycling, nightlife all against the waterfront here. Tons of nightlife. Even with the small bank as well from financial districts. Moving on to a baseball stadium again with plenty more parking, intercity bus stations. There is a ton of intercity bus stations in the city actually. Quite keen just to get a sense of the bus infrastructure through the city. There's OE's Transport Museum Complex. There's a lot of builds in the map named after Overcharged Industrial Area, for example. Overcharged Government Hospital. Which I like. Thank you, Tour Books. Appreciate the references. But yeah, there's quite a few different bus lanes all knocking about everywhere here, really, isn't there? So some nicely planned bus infrastructure. Our stadium peels into a downtown amusement park sat right up here against the waterfront with another metro heading us straight down the middle too. A tasteful amusement park, even using some extreme symmetry here with the Big Dippers and the plazas. With the log flume. Actually just done something very similar to that in Ilium. Yeah, nice amusement park this. Quite hard without mods because these tiles are so standout-ish, you know. Yeah, you really want Move It and Anarchy to kind of create different textures of them. An example being there, right, where you can't get it quite perfectly aligned. But for the majority of the park you have done, which is always appreciated. It's a really nice little park here. I love the positioning of this as well by the waterfront. With the statue of Colossus right by the skyline. Very nice. Reminds me a little bit of the one in Stockholm, actually, of course, having recently visited. You've even done... Is this walkable path? It doesn't look like it is, which is a bit of a shame, because I love what you've done with the decals here to make it look like it is. Around the Theatre of Wonders as well. Another Brutalist building, partnered with the Spa Hotel. More nightlife as we come into downtown, which will save, I think, for the end. We'll carry on skirting the outer builds of the Calera first. This must be a named build, surely. Yeah, Calera Disaster Response Area. So loads of workers' barracks, I guess as barracks for emergency response workers. All of the helicopter depots and the disaster response unit itself. With 6 underground bunkers. Which is probably the first time I've ever seen this exact collection of assets like this, but it really does hammer home the disaster response vibe, doesn't it? I like that build. Brooklyn and Queens, and then we saw the Overcharged Hospital Centre here, which is packed with death and medical care. Hospitals, car parks, and lots of other fun and games. Custom park in there as well. Wonderful stuff. A little bit of Green City's high-rise on the edge of this. With another cargo train station. Bringing us back to the arterial here. Doesn't look like it's getting too much use, this one. But great stuff. Really like that. This whole... See what I mean? Like, it's just tasteful. Everything flows, doesn't it? Which is such a hard thing to achieve in CS. To make it look like a city flows from one area to the next without it being too kind of obnoxious or intrusive. It's a skill, I think. Another park area. Really nicely measured zoo. I love these little centralized pathway designs here. Especially coming off the gate down into the reptile house. Classic zoo orientation. But I love how long you've left this. I usually bring this asset much closer to the main gate, but I love how much breathing room you've given the opening of the zoo here. Detailing to be enjoyed as well. Zoo decals, plazas and promenade stuff. Yeah, great. Really nice. Pretty much all the attractions are in here. Heading on to vast car parks as we come across another metro station here. Which then brings us into a chunky old Brooklyn and Queens area. And I wonder if this has a name. No, just Underhill District. It's just an elaborate residential space mixed with plazas and promenade schools. Ponds. A little bit of a central rock formation park here as well. With that elevated metro, or train rather, really nicely embanked here. That's great stuff. Then bringing us down into more European suburbia. Simple outer line districts here, basic interchange ramps before another factory arrives. In the form of warehouses and garbage collection and water. Lots of prop detailing to be enjoyed through here as well. Yeah, we'll stay this right side of the downtown, saving that for last, of course. But we have more Brooklyn and Queens with a big centralized walk right up to the I Arena. More services tucked in this neighborhood as well. Which I guess this whole plaza has a great downtown view, doesn't it? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's so nice. I love these big open spaces by the foot of a skyline. Really nice plaza arrangement as well. Lots of symmetry and repetition here. Gives very big, heavy landscape vibes, doesn't it? Over here. Car parking will lead us up to a really interesting use of the Arc de Triomphe. Lots of detailing through the middle. I love what you've done here. You're very good at using decals at all. I'll give you that. You have a real knack for just bringing decals into the build, where I probably would have just gone with another pedestrian road here. But I really love that visual. And certainly one of the more interesting uses of the Arc we've seen, I would say, on a little isolated pedestrian district here, which does serve as part of a much wider park space with ponds, attractions in various different forms. So I really like that. Great use. And even down here as well. What is going on here? This is like a little mini rail service yard for the service points over here, is it? That's so creative. Especially using these countryside props. I guess it's like train water tanks maybe. I love that. And I know there's so many assets on the Steam Workshop that can give you pretty much exactly what you need 99 times out of 100. But I love it when people try and be creative with just the official asset pool. I think it leads to some just really creative ideas and building. Easily, this is probably my favourite way to play CS. With Anarchy and Move It, of course. Over here, we'll see the Sahara Center, again, extremely landscaped with all of the Africa buildings here. Is this some sort of Africa reference? Yeah, it is. The African Calera Museum. Which features them all in a big landscape park, which again is the first time I've seen the African assets used like this. Having them all together. One of the hotels here too. Lots of paths and landscaping and happiness to be had here. Before that peels off into that big park we just saw a moment ago. Brooklyn and Queens, getting big dense blocks against all these curved arterial roads here. Big shout out for the alignment. One of Teddy's peanut abouts place here, I'll always recognise this one, 100%. And another one of those ramp systems down here as well. Now we'll continue heading away from downtown before we loop into it. Seeing more European suburbia and emerging downtown merging here. With a sunken train line which isn't lost on me at all. Excellent use of layers and terrain here to integrate those train lines through the whole city. It's nice. More underground metro with bus convergence. Plenty of cycling happening through here as well. Yeah, it's a really nice functioning city. We then come into what is possibly the biggest oil refiner we've had on the series so far. We'll start over here with lots of detailing warehouses up against a rail yard using the airport cargo station. The timeless feature of using monorails as oil pipelines. Lots of airport apron around here as well. Before we come into the oil field itself, which is made up of one refinery and a ton of processing buildings. Very densely packed again with all this elaborate oil pipeline infrastructure running through it, which is really sweet. Even using some of the single blade stuff in here too. Parking. More props. Warehouses over here. Even all the way down here by the rail yard. Ton of time gone into this build. More oil pumps here. I really love this visual. The repetitive oil pump is a real vibe, isn't it? Especially with so much storage behind it. Over here is another little ring. Yeah, really nice. Absolutely massive. It's taken up so much space because of all these massive chunky assets here. Really good refinery inspiration there. And vast warehouses with rotary kilns. Plenty more props. With service points. More warehouses. More of that aggregate detailing you've done yourself over here as well. Which again is so cool. Creative to be able to make things like that. And before it finishes off with the electronics factory and a ton more industrial detail in using those props over here. This then peels off into aesthetic farm fields. Lots of tree boundaries here as the rail passes into countryside. As the build kind of dissipates away. Bringing us back into this European suburb district we saw at the start. We'll grab the left side of this arterial now where we can see the Egg Brewery, which is another named build. Thank you so much at all. Which again is the visual of, I guess, hops or vineyards. It looks most like, I would say. With a ton of nodes used with all those pathways. But I love that. That's such a fun way to use a farm space, isn't it? Do we have any functioning farms here, or is it all aesthetic? I think this one is here, is it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's one. Yeah, they are tucked in, but so tucked in you can hardly tell they're there. So it is a functioning farm, with the vast majority of it being these super aesthetic little vineyards, or I guess just general fruit crops that will be turned into booze at some point, whatever variation of booze you prefer. But yeah, I love that. Really nice way to use some terrain there. Across the road from this, we'll see a big chunk of vanilla housing, which is a great chance to compare this to the European suburbia stuff, isn't it? I'll always call this out every time I see it. It just looks so ridiculous compared to realistic housing. It's why I pretty much never use base game housing. I don't like these assets. This, however, flows into more car parking with 2 varsity sports stadiums here. With clearly a campus, which we'll get a wider idea of. Let's definitely respect the front of the campus here, shall we? A little bus-only road with underground metro and plenty of prop detailing in the space here. A big centralized mall, again with another great execution of decals here from it all. Really love that. With a sensibly spaced campus. I always love my campuses. One of my favourite DLCs. The statues in here, lots of symmetry and landscape, and it switches off the symmetry there to join in with just more immaculate planning. There's little eateries out here in the campus, fountains by the media labs. And then the unique buildings also used here as well. Really nice flowing campus. I love that, I really do. This brings us on to the cycling arterial earlier, which I think is the one where we saw the underground metro with the bus. Yes, it is. And then we'll see another stadium. The Arrowhead Park with, again, more car parking. A toll really doesn't leave the car parking to chance, does he? The nice arena here. Possibly would have flipped this, I guess, 180 myself. So the stadium views the skyline rather than the countryside. But it's still nice. Hospitals, spa hotels, elevated pathways over some really nice interchange ramps. I love those really nice simple on and off system, that isn't it? That's real great. Pathway over here as well. Bringing people back to the metro station from the stadium. Now this then pretty much drops us into downtown, which will start from emerging downtown, emerging into downtown. Highway weaving right through the middle of all this area here. Bringing us into the Christmas market, centralized with the stock exchange. And plenty of entertainment. Modern city centre blocks also appearing here as well. Hopefully get a sense of downtown scurry with a pretty busy metro station here. Which is all connected with walkability, isn't it? Pretty much no one is pocket carring out of the city here. They're all walking to something else. With loads of pedestrianisation through the downtown here. Probably some of the most we've ever seen, actually. Most of this road here is all pedestrian, isn't it? If not all of it, actually. It's a mix. There's wall-to-wall, Brooklyn and Queens, mid-century modern. Skyscrapers with their own detailed plaza bases here, mixing in financial districts into that as well. Which there is a surprising amount of financial districts here, actually. Obviously within orbit of the stock exchange, so some financial themed build, clearly. With towers, more really beautiful landscaping through here. I love this sort of stuff. Green Cities takes over a little bit of IT cluster as we approach the Glassbox train station, which does sink underground. We'll check how this is looking, because I'm quite interested to see how he did this. Train police probably won't be happy with that, but I won't tell them. That's an interesting way, I think, to bring out the Glassbox station. I think I would have loved to have seen it kept overground, but... I mean, where is even the train line here? There's one here, isn't there? But otherwise it goes underground there. So you would have had to torn out all of this stuff to accommodate that. So I understand why you took it underground. Hopefully it's busy though. Absolutely is. At least on the metro side of it. Wonderful stuff. And then the trains underneath. We'll find out. Yeah, very nice. Very good. Always love to see a busy Glassbox station. We'll also have a look at the readership as well while we're here. Pretty much 900 on that one, which is a nice ridership. Another intercity station connected out the front of this as well. Love that. This then brings us into the main skyline, which is made up mostly of skyscrapers, uniques, IT cluster, mostly. Yeah. Green cities in here, really nice dense city blocks. Car parking and pedestrianisation tucked into them. There are some really nice clusters of IT cluster, I suppose. There with some nice road planning. Take a minute to appreciate the planning of the road in the downtown as well. Great stuff. Check out this big centralised plaza, which of course features the Metro Hall. Which currently has nearly 2,500 people riding it a week. Very nice, lots of scurry through here, yes, please. Look at that. Hello, people. That is fantastic. One of the busiest plazas we've had in City Showcase, maybe. Where are they all walking from here? Lots of red shirts walking down, I think from the metro station. Yep, certainly. They're all coming in here, aren't they? And walking down to the Metro Plaza, which I do actually want to see just where that goes underground here. Yeah, pretty elaborate underground metro system here. Not all the sides connected in. Which is a bit of a shame, because you probably could have hammered the walking even more on this if the other platforms were connected. But it's busy enough as it is, isn't it? Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. Really like that. This is dominated by massive towers, the Six Rivers Centre, all the way over here. Green cities. More plazas. The Financial District Plaza here as well. which is a great accompaniment to this building here. A hospital along the front, wrapped up by metro, intelligence agencies, IT cluster residential, Green City residential rather. It's not IT cluster residential, is it, Egg? Yeah, there's loads of it. There's tons of IT cluster through here. Lots of repetitive zoning as well. A big fan of your green cities in the downtowns. Possibly argue these towers are maybe a little too closely stacked together. I don't think you'd get them that close in real life. But again, I'm not one to judge my build against real life. God, I've done some horrendously unrealistic things over the years. But a nice skyline. That's not too over the top. Nice mix of different styles. Walkable space between the concrete here. This is where those little concrete decals come in nice just for tidying up the crack that you get there. And then all this metro front serving it very nicely around back to the amusement park we saw earlier as well. So a really nice downtown, which is flanked by this really nice Y interchange, which is multi-layered, right in the heart of the city here. That's a great little interchange, that. Good flow on it as well. That brings us back to some more downtown on and off ramps, feeding us into the Glass Eye Arena plaza we saw a moment ago. Again, with curved arterials mixed with boxy grids. And just a wonderful example of downtown road planning. And indeed a wonderful example of city building. That is an absolute beast of a build. That again, I think, as I mentioned earlier, is just immaculate. It's well planned. The interchanges are great. And again, to do all this without move and anarchy is always, I think, just worth of so much more appreciation because you don't have those quality of life tools to help you do it. Thank you so much for sending it in, Toolbooks. The second city showcase we've had of your work so far. Really nice. Yeah, you're obviously a very talented builder. Many hours in CS1, I'm sure. A huge shout out to the YouTube members and patrons bankrolling these videos. If you want to help support the channel, links down below are in the video description if you're interested in that, alongside the city showcase submission if you'd like your work to feature next time as well. Let me know what you think of this one. Any standout builds for you? Anything you might have done slightly differently as well? Let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, hang around for the cinematics and I will shut up and leave it there. I'll thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.